The buying division has a maximum price that they're willing to pay. The selling division has a minimum price that they're willing to accept. And as long as they can find a price in between, could be here, could be here, could be here, then they'll both be happy with it because they'll both make money. Now, the actual price really depends on who's the better negotiator. We're not really getting into that here, right? So if it's, if the buying division is very good, then the price will be pretty low. Actually, hold on, let me swap. It'll just make more sense. I'll put the buying. Oh, I had the buying there. Sorry. I'll put the selling here, so the minimum is there. And this makes more sense, right? I'll put the buyer here. So, if the buying division's manager is a very good negotiator, then they'll be able to get the price very, very low. If the selling division's manager is a better negotiator, they might be able to get the price really, really high. But the point is that it needs to be in between the minimum price and the maximum price for them to agree, right? Because if it's greater than the maximum price, the buyer will just say, well, why would I do it? And if it's below the minimum price, the selling division will say, well, I won't do it. So you have to be able to calculate the minimum price. That's the main thing. The maximum price is always given to you in the question. I'll show you guys how to find it. And then the other question you get is like, okay, if the price is this, how does that affect the selling division? How does that affect the buying division? Okay, so let's get into it. This is very formula based. So the first and most important formula is the minimum transfer price formula. It is the internal variable cost. I'll explain what I mean by internal because there's an external, plus any opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, you've got a formula here. Now you won't find this formula in your textbook, okay, but that's what it is. So memorize it. And even the formula in your textbook won't say internal. That's what it is, okay? So memorize it that way. So those two go together. And then this would be the two, how you calculate the effect on the seller and the effect on the buyer if the transfer takes place at a specific price. Now, these two formulas, there's a logical sense to them. And so if you don't want to memorize the formulas, you don't have to, but then you have to understand the logic, okay? So we'll get into that in a second. So I'll keep coming back to these to go over how to do them. But guys, pay special attention because this is the one that I bet will be on your exam, okay? 10 marks usually, 10, 11 marks. Okay. We've got 3 scenarios because a big part of this is understanding capacity. So this is going to be a little bit similar to when we did the special order in chapter 7 and how capacity plays a role. If there's no capacity, then there's going to be an opportunity cost. Same as with a special order. If we have all the capacity in the world, then there is no opportunity cost. Okay, so let's get into it. IKEA has 2 divisions, the desk division and the lamp division. The desk division produces office desks that each require a lamp to be built in. They currently purchase the lamps from an outside supplier for $32 each, freeze. Okay, this is important. The outside supplier's price is your maximum transfer price. Remember that. The outside supplier price is the maximum transfer price. That's how you find it. So you don't actually have to calculate it. Let's keep reading. The lamp division produces lamps for $25 per unit in variable costs, which includes $5 in variable selling expenses. The lamps are sold to customers for $40 each. The manager of the desk division has recently approached the lamp division and requested 10,000 units and has offered to pay $30 per unit. The lamp division would not incur any variable selling expenses on lamps transferred to the desk division. So this is why I said there's an internal and an external variable cost. Now, there won't always be a difference. Sometimes if they feel like writing a basic question, there's just going to be one variable cost. It'll be both internal and external. But what do I mean? The variable cost that the selling division will incur when they produce and sell a unit might be different if they're selling to an external customer or if they're selling internally. Like here, for example, they said that the variable cost is $25, but it includes a $5 selling expense, which if you keep reading, they would not incur if they transfer it internally. So what does that mean? It means their variable cost on external sales, and I always like to establish this, is $25 per unit. But the variable cost on internal sales is $20 per unit because they wouldn't incur that $5 cost. It could be more, it could be less, it could be the same. Just read your question carefully. How could it be more, right? That's a question I always get. Imagine that it said the lamp division would have to adapt the lamp to fit the desk, and that would incur a cost of $6 per unit. So the internal cost could actually be higher. There's no rule that says it has to be less. The point is that just read your question carefully and the information will be there. Okay. The first scenario is the easiest and the one we hope for. We have enough excess capacity to produce 10,000 more lamps without affecting sales. In this case, guys, there is no opportunity cost. When we have all the capacity we need, there's no opportunity cost. So A, the minimum transfer price would simply be, if I follow the formula, the variable cost on internal because there's no opportunity cost. So the answer would be $20. That's it. That's the formula. 20 plus 0. The maximum transfer price. The maximum transfer price, like I said, is 32. So the logic of the outside supplier's price being the maximum transfer price is this. Let's say you're the manager of the desk division and you're currently buying your lamps for 32 from someone else. That is the most you would be willing to pay to buy them internally. Like you wouldn't pay more just to buy it internally. So you're basically, it's like in any negotiation. Look, I can already get it for 32, so I would only accept a better price. So the maximum transfer price is the external supplier's price. Is a transfer likely to take place? Well, they offered $30, which is in between the minimum and the maximum. So I would say yes, since $30 is I'll say between the min and max. You always want the transfer price, guys, to be greater than the minimum, but less than the maximum. It has to be not just in between because, here's how, yeah, okay, that's it basically. Right. So as long as the transfer price is between the min and the max in this sense, that is greater than the minimum but less than the maximum, then a transfer is likely to happen, right? They would both make money. At $30, they're both happy. Okay. The selling division is super happy because their minimum was 20. So anything they can get above 20 is profit for them. The buyer is also happy because they can get it for less than 32. Anything less than 32 is profit for them. So they're both profiting at $30. Now, second scenario, we have no excess capacity at all, and we would have to forego 10,000 unit sales. This is very, very similar to when we did special orders. Here, you're going to have an opportunity cost. So we're going to start by calculating the opportunity cost. Just grab my formula. The opportunity cost in this case, in this chapter, is the total contribution margin that you lose divided by the number of units you're going to transfer. So the contribution margin lost, that's based on your external sales, right? Because in order for me to transfer 10,000 units to the desk division, I have to cancel 10,000 units to my existing customers. So contribution margin lost, make a little note, this is on external sales. So we sell our lamps, the lamp division sells the lamps for 40, but has an external variable cost of 25. So remember what contribution margin is. It's the selling price minus the variable cost times 10,000 units. So if they accept this order, they're going to lose 15 times 10,000. They're going to lose $150,000. Okay? So that's your first step. That's the numerator. And then the opportunity cost is that 150,000 divided by the number of units that they're transferring, which in this case is also 10,000. So you end up going in a loop and getting back to 15. But I prefer if you guys did it this way, and I prefer not to say, oh, it's just going to be this, because it's not always that. You'll see scenario number 3 is a little bit different. So you should always just figure out how much will they lose, right? Based on the units they have to cancel. That's 150K. Then take that number divided by the number of units they're transferring. and that's your opportunity cost. So when you go to calculate the minimum transfer price, remember the minimum transfer price is your internal variable cost plus your opportunity cost. In this case, it would be internal variable cost is 20. We spoke about that earlier, plus the 15. So they would have to charge $35. That's their minimum price. But the max is still 32. So now would a transfer take place at $30? It wouldn't. No, because the offer of $30 is less than the minimum of $35. The lamp division would actually lose money if they transferred these lamps to the desk division at the offer of $30. But you guys, if you can memorize your formulas, and now you'll see with the third scenario, because there's always a little bit of confusion here, like, oh, are these two numbers always the same? No. They often are, but let me show you an example where those two numbers could be different. So scenario number 3. The lamp division is currently producing and selling 36,000 units, which represents 90% of its total capacity. So we want to figure out what is their maximum capacity. So you take the number of units they're making and divide it by the percentage. That would be 40,000. So this tells me that their maximum capacity is 40. If they're currently producing 36, they have 4,000 units available. This is what we call excess capacity, or available capacity. So let's think about that for a second. The desk division wants 10,000 units. I have 4,000 available. So if I take 10,000 minus the 4,000, we're only over capacity by 6,000. We're 6,000 over, so that is what we will cancel. So to be canceled from customers. I want you to think about, you could pause the video here and just reflect for a moment. Where am I going with this? How is this similar to this? Well, in this question, I had no available capacity, so I had to cancel 10,000 units for my existing customers so that I could transfer 10,000 units to my friend, the internal division. Here, I have to cancel only 6,000 units so that I can transfer 10,000 units internally. So let's go through the steps, okay? Step 1, get your opportunity cost. So contribution margin lost over units transferred. So I would lose 40 minus 15. Again, 40 minus 25. That is your external contribution margin. We sell the lamps for $40 externally. We produce them for $25 externally. But I would only lose 6,000 units. But I'm transferring 10. So you see how, in this case, the numerator's units and the denominator's units are not the same because they are not actually the same number. They happen to be the same number in the previous question, but they are not actually the same number. So you are basically losing 90,000 to transfer 10,000. So the opportunity cost is only $9 per unit, which it was $15 per unit in the previous question. And then from here, you just go with the formula. So your minimum transfer price is $20. That's your internal variable cost plus your opportunity cost. So 29. Your maximum transfer price is still that external supplier's price at 32. Okay, guys, so that's pretty much, there's one more thing for us to do, but that's the idea, guys. Read your question carefully. Establish, do we have capacity? Do we have no capacity? Do we have partial capacity? And that will dictate how many units you're going to have to cancel. And then that'll, with that, you can find your opportunity cost. And then it's just formulas. So now the last bit. Question C says, if the transfer takes place at the price that the desk division offered, they offered $30, right? If you go back to the case. What would be the effect on each division's operating income, and should the transfer take place? So I'm going to use the formulas, but I'm also going to explain the logic to you. And I think with the logic, it'll also just help in memorizing them. So let's start with the selling division. In this case, that would be the lamp. The minimum transfer price, okay, this $29, for example, that's the price that would make them break even, that they would be indifferent on. So at $29, they're not making money, but they're not losing money, right? So if they can get more than 29, they're going to make money. If they get less than 29, they're going to lose money. So the formula is this. The transfer price, whatever it is, so in this case, that would be $30, minus the minimum transfer price of 29, multiplied by however many units are being transferred. But let's break that down a little bit further. Since they're getting $30, technically they're making $1 on every unit. They're profiting $1 on every unit. If they're transferring 10,000 units, that's $10,000. Okay, now for the buyer, it's the same concept, okay, but let's talk about it. The maximum transfer price is their break-even point. So as long as they don't pay more than that, they're happy. If they pay more than 32, they're going to lose money because they can get it for 32 from somebody else. So at 32 they break even. Above 32 they lose money. Below 32 they make money. So the formula becomes, if you just think of it logically, the maximum they would pay, so 32, minus what they actually pay, which is 30. So here they're actually making $2 because they're saving $2, multiplied by the number of units that they're buying. Right? Their operating income increases by 20,000. So should a transfer take place? Yes. Because the company, if you put these two together, one division is gaining 10,000. The other division is gaining 20,000. So the company as a whole is gaining $30,000. And that's it. Master the formulas. Understand the logic. This becomes 10 to 12 free marks on your exam, guys. If you have any questions at all, if you're not sure about something, please DM me right away. If not,